I'm Camarillo City Council member Charlotte Craven, and I'm going to talk to you about street names. Many of Camarillo's streets were named after early settlers. Farming was the economic activity in this area a century ago, and many streets are named for those early farmers, with the Camarillo family being the most prominent. Two streets are named Camarillo, which sometimes causes confusion. Camarillo Street crosses Pettit Street and covers 2 blocks between Village at the Park Drive and Dawson Drive. On the other hand, Camarillo Drive is off Mission Drive, north of Camarillo Heights School. Adolfo Road, of course, is named for Adolfo Camarillo. Pettit Street is named for the family of Adolfo and Isabel's oldest daughter, Rosa, who married Alfred John Pettit. They were given 143 acres as a wedding gift, which extended from about the freeway southward. And of course, Carmen Drive was named after Adolfo and Isabella's youngest daughter, Carmen Camarillo Jones. Arneil Road was named for John and Elizabeth Arneil, both from Scotland, whose 365 acres extended from Las Rosas Road up to what is now Grandview Drive. It lies along the eastern side of their farm, extending northerly from where the ranch house and buildings had been, where Ponderosa shopping centers are today. The Arneils called their farm Raymere, which in Scottish means land of Ray. Elizabeth's maiden name was Ray, from which Raymere Street was named. Daly Drive was named after the 3 Daly brothers, Charles J., Erastus Wright, and Wendell Phillip. Their farms sat along what is now Daly Drive. Wright and Etta's house stood east of the Las Posas shopping center, where apartments now stand. Charles and Theresia's house is now the Boy Scout headquarters. The home of Wendell and Lenora is now the Griffin family funeral home. By the way, Stan Daly, who was on the original city council, was W.P. Daly's grandson. Earl Joseph Drive was not named after a farmer, but after the first mayor of Camarillo, who owned a shoe store. It initially had another name. Councilmember Bill Esty proposed it be renamed Earl Joseph, and the council agreed since there were no addresses on that street. Flynn Road was named for part of the Flynn clan, which descended from Michael and Sarah Flynn, both from Ireland. They had 7 sons and 2 daughters, some of whom stayed in the area and farmed. One grandson, Patrick, left his farm to his children. When those children sold the land for development, a condition of the sale was that the main street would be named Flynn Road. They reasoned if the Daly brothers could have a street named for them, so could the Flynns. Fulton Street was named after William T. Fulton and his wife Elizabeth. In 1897, they bought 160 acres of farmland, which extended from Arneil Road to Lewis Road, east of where El Tecolote restaurant now stands. In 1910, he mapped out a housing tract on his property, and by 1916, several homes had been built on Berry Street. Glen Drive was named for the farm of George W. and Catherine Cowelty Glen, who owned land extending from Lewis Road westward, above and under the bluff. Part of their land became St. Mary Magdalene School and the Park Glen Apartments. It went on over to Glenview Drive. Howard Road was named for Mary Howard Smith. I've previously told you about her in the Camsan history. Las Posas was named for the original land grants, Rancho Las Posas. Lewis Road was named after Joseph Lewis, who jointly operated a large dairy with Adolfo Camarillo. Later, Joseph and Sarah Lewis's home was on 8,200 acres to the south. He was the first to grow lima beans here, up to 2.5 tons per acre. Lewis Road runs along the western boundary of his farm. Camarillo State Hospital was built on 1,600 acres of the Lewis Ranch. Mike Losa Drive is named for the man who ran El Tecolote restaurant for years and gave much back to the community. Councilmember Don Wanch requested that a street be named in his honor, and it's not far from El Tecolote restaurant. People Street was named for the family that bought part of the Fulton Farm. The People's Housing Tract was approved in 1952. People's Lumber Company was on a corner that was later bought by the city, with plans for low-income housing to be built by the Area Housing Authority. Wood Road was named for the Reverend William Wood, who came from Ohio in 1868. 10 years later, he formed the Church of the Little Flock of Regular Baptists in Springville. The house on his farm was later moved to make way for the flight path at the west end of the runway at what is now Camarillo Airport.